Welcome to motorcycling. Our aim is to give you some idea of the great range of everyday uses, fun pastimes and serious sporting activities which are available within the two-wheeled world, and to explain what you need to do to become part of it.
This is the National Motorcycle Museum near Birmingham. It's filled with hundreds of bikes of all shapes, types and sizes. And here you can appreciate the evolution of motorcycling, from the earliest motorised bicycles to the latest land speed record holders. And every bike here was built in Britain.
Sadly, the days when British motorcycles dominated the world have gone, but there are very few motorcycles available on the road today whose basic concept wasn't thought of and built by British designers at some time in the past, although many of their best ideas only got into production when they were taken up by foreign manufacturers. The earliest motorcycles were little more than bicycles with engines bolted on, but as performance improved, the need for more sophistication soon became apparent. So the crude leather belts first used for transmitting power gave way to chains. Gears appeared, frames became sturdier, and suspension was added. The 1950s saw the pinnacle of British motorcycle production, when our simple air-cooled four-stroke twins from the likes of BSA, Norton and Triumph were exported all over the world in vast numbers. But in the space of barely 10 years, the appearance of better engineered and more reliable and sophisticated bikes from Japan knocked the British bike industry off its pedestal. The Japanese put civilized electric starts and indicators on even the humblest machines and introduced mass-produced multi-cylindered superbikes to a stunned market. Now in the 90s, there's a wider selection of machinery than ever before, with all possible tastes catered for. Electronic ignition and fuel injection are run-of-the-mill, and the most sophisticated bikes boast anti-lock brakes, catalytic converters, cruise control and electronic suspension adjustment. Modern biking can be very civilized, with in-helmet intercoms and even hands-free telephones available.
Every bike in the museum is in full working order. Bikes are for riding, and whichever bike you choose, you can experience the fresh air and freedom of the open road and the thrill of leaning through bends.
Cornering is one of the most exhilarating parts of riding a bike, along with a searing acceleration. Even a middleweight will do 0 to 60 in under 5 seconds. Motorcycling can be a solitary or a social pleasure, however the mood takes you. And unlike some leisure pursuits, you don't need to spend hours on crowded roads towing a cumbersome trailer before you can enjoy it. In fact, you can even enjoy the crowded roads, since they always seem so much less crowded on a bike. There's nothing like going out for a run on a Sunday afternoon with friends to enjoy the roads, your bike and the scenery.
Of course, the pleasures of biking don't have to be confined to a single day or a weekend. Enthusiasts have been using their bikes to go on holiday ever since the things were invented. Although with a few rare exceptions like this 1912 Wilkinson, comfort was not a strong point until full suspension became widely used in the 1950s.
This very fast 1955 Vincent Black Prince was well ahead of its time. It was one of the first machines to feature a full touring fairing, and you can see its similarity to modern tourers like the Honda Pan-European. Similarly, this 700cc 1962 aerial prototype was conceived as a bigger touring version of the successful 250 aerial leader, which was one of the first machines to have integral panniers fitted. a brand new 4-cylinder engine was created which bears a striking similarity to the BMW K-Series engine which appeared 20 years later. Unfortunately, the Ariel never made it into production, while the BMW has sold by the thousands.
This touring version of the Hesketh is one of the most recently built bikes in the museum. If you're used to taking your car on holiday, you might think you could never get everything you want on a bike, but you'd be surprised at just how much stuff you can get on a motorcycle.
With a well-equipped tourer, all the pleasures of motorcycling are still available, but comfort and carrying capacity are at a premium thanks to large protective fairings, top boxes and panniers, not to mention heated handlebar grips and stereo radio cassettes on some of the more sophisticated models. Of course, you don't have to have a purpose-built touring bike to go touring. There's soft luggage available that will fit just about any motorcycle, and people can and do tour on everything from mopeds to race replicas. Modern machines are so reliable that it's only the wear and tear on the rider that you have to worry about. Thousands of British bikers travel abroad independently every year. But for those who are nervous about taking their bike overseas for the first time, or who simply prefer to travel with fellow enthusiasts, several of the motorcycle magazines organise trips to the continent, with all the route planning, hotel booking, travel insurance and so forth taken care of. Thanks to the further integration of the EC, whether you want to do the Beaujolais run by bike or test your skills on alpine passes, it's never been easier to venture across the channel. And remember that bikes are ambidextrous. There's no steering wheel on the wrong side to worry about. Closer to home, there are the world-famous TT races held in the Isle of Man in early June. The races are now just a backdrop to a huge festival of biking in which every kind of motorcycle leisure activity and competition is catered for, and enthusiasts from all over the world visit this motorcycling mecca every year.
So far, we've concentrated on the joys of biking on the open road. But the advantages of two wheels over four are nowhere more clear than in heavy traffic. You can't beat a two-wheeler for unscrambling the jams and parking with ease. In the 1950s, machines like these took millions of Britons to work every day. Nowadays, the names on the tanks may have changed, but their modern equivalents do the same job even more efficiently, as ease of use and reliability have dramatically improved.
Traffic density and city congestion have increased dramatically in recent years. It's amazing that more people don't consider the two-wheel alternative. And these days, beating the traffic is only half the story. Parking easily, conveniently, and best of all, for free is the rest of the good news. With parking in some cities now costing as much as £2.50 an hour, and fines of up to £40, not to mention the costs and trauma of clamping and towing away, savings on parking costs alone could pay for a moped or small motorcycle in no time. With shorter journey times and reduced stress and frustration, you can actually enjoy riding to work on a motorcycle. And providing you've got the right equipment, there's no reason to get cold and wet on rainy days either. But what is the right equipment? A helmet is compulsory, but it would be foolish to ride a motorcycle without adequate protection for the rest of your body. Leathers, gloves and boots are a sensible choice with a lightweight one-piece oversuit pack ready in case of rain. The best modern riding suits combine waterproofing, warmth and protection in a smart overall package and are easy to get on and off, so it's perfectly practical to wear business clothes underneath them. Riding a bike doesn't have to mean any great compromise in what you can wear once you've reached your destination.
Well, we've looked at the pleasures and practicality of biking and what you should wear. But of course, before you can ride a bike on the road, you've got to have a licence. Now, the law has changed several times in the last 20 years, but the essentials are now as follows.
Let's start with mopeds. At 16, you can apply for a provisional licence to ride a moped, but unless you already have a full car licence, you must take compulsory basic training before you can ride a moped on the road. If you do have a car licence, you can ride a moped without L plates. At 17, you can apply for a provisional motorcycle licence, but it's not valid without a compulsory basic training certificate. If you are a car driver and your licence was issued before December the 1st, 1990, you may ride a 125 machine with L plates without first taking CBT, but a CBT certificate must still be obtained before you can apply to take a full motorcycle test. Those who obtained a car licence after December the 1st, 1990 are in the same position as a complete novice with regard to bikes. That is, they cannot ride any motorcycle on the road at all before first doing compulsory basic training. Furthermore, a provisional motorcycle licence is only valid for 2 years, and if a full bike test is not passed within this period, a 1-year ban is automatically imposed before another provisional licence can be issued. The only exceptions to this ban are those who have already passed a moped test and those whose car licence was issued before December the 1st, 1990. Once you have passed a full motorcycle test, there are at present no limits on the size or power of motorcycle you can ride, although some restrictions have been proposed by the EC authorities to limit new licence holders to a certain size and power of machine for 2 years after passing their test.
Here we've got a few bikes that used to be popular with learners. Generations of British youngsters learnt to ride on the BSA Bantam, the Triumph Tiger Cub. When this 1949 Bantam was built, there was actually no limitation on the capacity of a bike that a learner could ride. But by the time this 175 was built in 1971, learners were limited to 250cc. Now today they're limited to 125cc and 12 horsepower.
Motorcycling is like many other skills. The better your initial training, the quicker you'll become proficient. Good training by a professional, well-organised training school will ensure a high standard of riding, making you an alert, competent and above all safe road user. CSM has over 13 years of experience in rider training and is the UK's leading motorcycle training school with over 50 centres nationwide. They have developed a range of courses which will take you from CBT through to full licence in as little as 3 days if you have previous motorcycling experience.
Right, morning gents, my name's Steve. Basically what we're going to do today is a one-day course. Okay, and what it consists of is this morning I'm going to do part 1, which is CBT. I'll explain that in a moment. And this afternoon we're going to start working towards your part 2 test.
That's right. A little bit more with the clutch, a little bit more.
If you have never ridden before, your training will start with familiarisation with the controls, balance and feel of the motorcycle. You will then progress to pulling away and stopping smoothly, left and right turns, slow riding and emergency stops, all on a large, open, off-road area.
Well done. That was good. Front brake first, then the back brake. Just before you stopped, you pulled the clutch in. Excellent.
With this close control and safety work completed, your instructor will give you a thorough road briefing prior to taking you out for a supervised ride on the road. Once he is satisfied of your competence, he will issue a CBT certificate which validates your provisional licence and enables you to ride a learner legal bike on the road unsupervised. You cannot apply for your motorcycle test until you have a CBT certificate. The test for a full licence is conducted by a Department of Transport examiner who follows you on another bike giving instructions by radio intercom. However, it is essential that following your CBT you take further training before attempting the test. And at CSM there will be a course that is suitable for your needs. For example, there are 3 and 5 day super courses, which start with CBT and prepare you intensively for a pre-booked full test on the final day. Alternatively, your training can be split into sessions to suit your spare time. CSM's training aims to raise your standard of riding and road sense to a level well beyond what is required to pass the test. You will be taught how to cope with everyday road conditions, making progress in traffic, and adopting a defensive attitude in your riding. You will also do U-turns, emergency stops, and of course the highway code.
Okay, gents, quite a good ride that.
If you train with a group, as most people do, you will find the shared experiences of enormous value. You'll all be learning together, and in most cases this develops a team spirit which is rewarding in itself. CSM has been the most successful training school in the UK for many years. 35,000 of their students passed the full test in 1993 alone. You may be surprised to learn that the national average pass rate for the car test is only about 50%, whereas the national average for the motorcycle test is nearer 70%, and CSM's pass rate is 85%.
I would definitely recommend CSM to other people. It's been proved, I think, by the pass rate and the pass of all the people.
You know, they want you to pass your test. They seem, you know, tell you everything that's going to happen on the test. They show you videos and things like that, what's going to happen on the test. And when you're out on the road, they'll watch out for your things that you're doing wrong, and they let you know, like, over the radios and that.
I think the main reason I wanted a full licence was I've been riding a 125 for a while now, and I just wanted something a little bigger. And I didn't want to drive around with L plates anymore.
Once you've passed your test, the world of motorcycling is your oyster, and a pretty exciting world it can be. What you're watching is a variety of motorcycle competition at the very highest level. It requires years of practice and phenomenal nerve, balance and skill. So don't try it at home. As soon as you buy a bike, you become a member of the great club of motorcyclists. Membership and camaraderie come for free, and the only requirement is an enjoyment and appreciation of bikes. For those who develop a more specialised interest in a particular make or activity, there are literally hundreds of local and national clubs ready and waiting to welcome you with open arms. From vintage bikes to Harleys, you name it, there's a club for it. The biggest annual gathering of motorcyclists is at the British Motorcyclists Federation Rally in Peterborough every May. In 1993, there were 50,000 enthusiasts gathered there on a sunny Sunday, and the only policemen present were the ones with a publicity stand of their own.
And now for something completely different. One of the motorcycle's most attractive features has always been its versatility. There's a large selection of bikes available with off-road ability, which can be used to explore the green lanes and byways of the countryside. Two-wheeled Land Rovers and Range Rovers, if you like.
These green lanes are old, untarmacked roads which have all the rights and requirements of any other public highway, road tax, insurance and so on, even if they may not look much more than wide footpaths in places. Trail riding, as it's called, requires more skill and confidence than riding on tarmac, but the satisfaction and enjoyment is all the greater once you've mastered it, and the skills that you learn on the trail are very useful back on the road if you should encounter mud, gravel, snow or animal byproducts.
Once you've passed your test, you can ride any bike you can afford to buy and insure, but don't bite off more than you can chew.
BMW's F650 is assembled in Italy, the engine is Austrian, the suspension is Japanese and it was styled by an Englishman. But all these parts work together really well to make a thoroughly entertaining machine which is low, light, swift and versatile. You can ride it to work, explore the countryside or cruise down the motorway. An ideal machine for anyone who's just passed their test. Honda's VFR 750 is widely regarded as one of the best sports touring bikes on the market. The engine has a great combination of stump-pulling torque and high power at high revs, with a nerve-tingling V4 howl. The all-alloy chassis and excellent tyres and suspension enable all its power to be used with confidence. The single-sided swinging arm adds an extra touch of class, and the new twin headlights mean that night riding is safer than ever. The K1100LT is BMW's top-of-the-range tourer. It's a real transcontinental mile-eater with enough power to carry two people in comfort at 100 miles an hour on unrestricted autobahns. There's a vast amount of storage space in its panniers and top box, and the bike bristles with useful features, from the flip-out main stand handle to the unique electronically adjustable windscreen which can be raised and lowered on the move. Anti-lock brakes come as standard, and heated handlebar grips and a radio cassette are also available. Honda's NTV 650 is a solid, reliable all-rounder which has become a firm favourite among dispatch riders throughout the country. They like its unburstable V-twin engine, maintenance-free shaft drive and quickly detachable rear wheel. The stylish frame is immensely strong and the spacious seat is low enough for the vast majority of people to get both feet firmly on the ground. The Africa Twin is a direct descendant of the desert racers that won the Paris-Dakar Rally 4 times in a row. This latest version is lighter and lower than ever before, and the suspension gives a superbly compliant ride. It's a wonderfully versatile machine, equally at home on easy green lanes, bumpy back roads or bowling down the motorway. The tall screen actually gives more rider protection than a lot of so-called tourers, and the cockpit is one of the best equipped on the market. Piaggio's stylish Skipper is designed to be really easy to use for those who are new to motoring on two wheels. It starts at the push of a button and is fully automatic. You just twist and go, and the nippy Skipper keeps up with urban traffic with ease, yet will still return up to 85 miles to the gallon. The powerful brakes operate bicycle style, and as a safety feature must be held on before the bike will start. The spacious saddle has ample room for two, and underneath is an extremely useful lockable helmet compartment. The Piaggio TYPHOON is brand new for 1994. Its sporty styling and high technical specification belies its moped status. The sturdy tubular steel frame, upside-down forks and powerful brakes are man enough to handle twice the performance. It comes equipped with a rack as standard and the same very useful underseat helmet compartment as the skipper. Honda's Pan-European is one of the best Tourers available. Clever touches abound, from the knob in the fairing to adjust the headlight, to the flaps which cover the pannier mounting points. The fuel tank is under the seat, keeping the centre of gravity low, and it's big enough to allow well over 200 miles of non-stop riding. With anti-lock brakes and non-slip drive now available, the Pan-European is one of the most sure-footed machines on the market.
Bikes will always be objects of emotional desire, but try to buy with your head as well as your heart, and always try to get a test ride before you commit yourself.
Ask yourself a few simple questions. Do you just want a bike for weekends, or is it for commuting too? Will you want to go camping two up, or are you a solitary credit card and toothbrush merchant? The answers will make a big difference to a sensible choice of bike. Make sure you know the on-the-road price before choosing your machine, and don't forget to allow for riding gear, insurance and maintenance on top of that.
Don't buy a race-bred thoroughbred before you've even mastered a pony. Remember, the 125 you take your test on is only the equivalent of a Shetland. Any basic all-rounder will out-accelerate any turbocharged hot hatch. Always wear the right gear, ride defensively at your own pace within the prevailing conditions. Always expect the unexpected, and that way you won't have any nasty surprises and you'll be able to relax and get the most out of your motorcycling. Well, I hope this quick spin through the world of bikes has motivated you to swing your leg over a saddle sooner rather than later. So good riding and take care.